Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
My name is Kate, and I am an alcoholic. Thank you for asking me to lead the meeting at the last minute so I didn't have to obsess about myself all day. So of course I'm nervous, but then I realized that everybody in here has a story to tell, and maybe like mine, maybe not, but I can rest assured that many of you spent many days and nights as I did 12 years ago. I've 12 years sober. And I was just remembering today my first drink. So I was at a very boring teacher conference, and you gotta find something interesting to do. So I told people about my first drink, which was when I was 8 years old and I was at a wedding and a priest gave me a half a can of beer. That was all we did though. And then my family went to visit him at Lake Arrowhead, and he gave each of us kids another half a can of beer. And it was funny because I realized after I got sober that he was a Hungarian man, and I used to have this character called the Hungarian Queen when I was growing up, and I would say to everybody in my family, bow down to the Hungarian Queen, you know, and I never knew where it came from. But after I got sober, I put all that together. I'm like, wow, we're weird. And so that was my first drink, and then I was sort of obsessed with getting A's in school, so I was a really good student, applied myself to that, and that fully took up my obsessive addictive personality. But then when I went to college, I discovered, I didn't like being looked up to by my peers, that was awful, and their parents. So I decided to drink, because everybody else was doing it, why not? And it was fun. I had a great time. And so began the party years. And I dropped out of college because I thought if I'm going to party like this, my parents shouldn't be paying for this good education. So I, dropped out and was pretty responsible. Moved to New York before the drinking age was, I guess it's 21 now, but I was under 21 and it was 18, so that was great. I was just thinking what my life would be like if the age had been 21, if it would have been a different path. But anyhow, I drank a lot, and it was a lot of fun, and if it hadn't have been for the blackouts, maybe I never would have discovered I was an alcoholic, but I was a blackout drinker, and in a way I'm grateful for that. I'm sure there's many more people I owe amends to, but I don't remember. Just the next day people would be like, you were so funny, and I'd say, what did I do that was funny, Kind of try to piece the night together, and God, I still have, just those stories that come back. I remember one day going to work. I worked at Radio City Music Hall in New York, and one of the pages came up to me and said, hey, I saw you in a donut shop yesterday. I'm like, I wasn't at a donut shop. What are you talking about? And he described what I was wearing, and I still denied it. And the day came back to me. I still remember the outfit. That was so long ago, and I remember I made the shirt, and I vividly recall the outfit in my mind. So I decided to leave New York because I said, if I don't... I remember saying, me and all my friends are alcoholics, I gotta leave. But it was so weird that I said that, because I certainly didn't have any intention of getting sober. I didn't think about going to Alcoholics Anonymous. I just had to leave New York. And proceeded with my life and went back to college and sent away for a directory of meetings in San Diego. I think I was about 27 years old, and I remember seeing what it looked like. I remember it was just a piece of paper, and I remember that I looked at it, and that's all I remember about the paper. I didn't go to meetings. And I remember my mother told me, I used to be pretty candid with her, and she said when I was about 24 that blackouts were a sign of alcoholism. And I thought, oh, okay. I thought it was sort of like, better be careful, that might happen someday, I didn't know it meant you were probably an alcoholic. So I proceeded to drink, and it just, all the things that go with that. I felt depressed a lot. I felt like my mom thought I suffered from cyclical depression. The depression pretty much went away after I got sober. You know, alcohol is kind of a depressant. And I managed to like always do well in what I like, school and get a degree, but I just, I don't know that there was any particular thing that brought me to Alcoholics Anonymous, except I kept doing those, you know, whatever that, I can't remember the words, you know, the incomprehensible demoralizing acts, you know, and I was also a periodic drinker. I would stop drinking for a couple months at a time. And the last 6 months of my drinking, I think I quit like 5 times, and I'd make bargains with myself or other people, and it wasn't sticking, and it was just a huge series of coincidences that brought me to Alcoholics Anonymous that year. And I remember I was in an acting class in the early 90s, a few years before I got sober, and this woman invited me to an AA meeting. And I look back now and I think, what was I like that somebody would invite me to an AA meeting? I thought we were just going for fun. And so I went to my first meeting of choice in '93, and I didn't do, if you're here and you feel like, this is so stupid, why do they even say, oh, my name is such and such and I'm an alcoholic? I just thought it was so stupid, and that my life was over, that it was going to be boring, and I was going to be bored, and what was the point? And I went to my first meeting, and I heard them say, we share our experience, drinks and hope. And I thought, my God, what do they drink? How do they go on? And if you're newish and you're not doing anything anybody tells you, I hate to burst your bubble, but that's what I did, and you can still say stay sober. I didn't do anything except not drink. I didn't go to, well, all the things that they tell you to do, read the book, get a sponsor, go to meetings. I didn't do any of it. And I think part of the reason I could function in that way was because I had been a periodic, and it was, how much time do I have left? I can't see the clock from here. 2 minutes. I had been a periodic, so I didn't realize till at about 9 months sober that I needed help. And I began to ask for help and took in that first word of the first step, which is we. And I realized that help was available, and I asked for it, and I did all the things I was told. And I worked the steps, and life slowly changed, even though I had an incredibly rebellious nature and still possess some of that and don't take direction so well. I stopped going to meetings a couple of years ago, and not for any reason. It just kind of faded away. And then, wonderfully enough, it kind of came back last summer. I didn't drink. It just, I was at a big conference, and a woman came up to me and asked me if I was a friend of Bill's. And I said, why are you asking me that? And she said she didn't know why. And the next day, I was like, I don't want to go back to meetings. You know, the conversation in your head, and I'll just call and see if that noon meeting over there is still at Moore Park. And, you know, it was just like this big banner flashed before me that said, if you resist, there will be trouble. And I thought, okay, I'll go back. And, you know, a lot of the same people are still around, and a lot of the people aren't, and there's new faces. And during this year, I think I would have drank again this year. You know, it's not that things got bad, it's that my head fell apart. You know, it's like I'd had all those years working the program, kind of keeping it together, and man, without it, my head's a zoo. And a couple days before my birthday this year, I really lost it. And I like the one gentleman said about having some time and things getting tough. Again, you know, I raised my hand. I shared, because somebody else had like 14 years and shared about a difficult time. I did the same thing, and I shared the truth from my gut, and I was a mess. And I was going to turn around and welcome a newcomer, and I couldn't because so many people came up to me. So, you know, I just like to encourage people, it doesn't matter how much time you have. If you need help and you are in pain, if you reach out, someone here will come to your rescue just by talking to you. So I really encourage all of us to be brave and keep coming back. Thanks.
Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. to install the joysticks for control. Up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst, then one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. And if that shows up, the gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.